Yeah, hello, Greta.
Hi, how's it
Hi,
going?
how are you? Yeah. So, yeah, you will release the new album, Different Talking. What is the meaning of this album for you?
What's the meaning of the album? I guess it's about a lot of things, but
Mm.
it's it feels for me very much like my first album that I'm making in my 30s. I think it feels like a bit of calm, a bit of
Mm,
hindsight, and looking at my life so far, and sort of
mm,
re-examining it, and aging, time passing, that kind of thing.
mm,
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the same themes that I've always been interested in, which is
mm,
memory and time, but um,
mm.
just just new to me.
Oh, yeah. How long did this album take to produce? What was the biggest obstacle?
This was the longest I've ever spent recording.
Mm,
So we spent 40 days recording it, which it might
mm,
not seem very long, but every other record I've ever made was like in under 10 days. So I think the biggest obstacle was probably just figuring out how to do it ourselves, because we didn't work in a studio. We sort of like built a studio in a house, and
mm,
just figuring out how to make all the audio, how we wanted it, and
mm.
I'll make sure all the equipment was working, and just the fact that we were playing the music and running the technological side ourselves uh, was kind of stressful, and meant we had to make decisions uh, that just between the four of us as a band. So I think it was a very bonding experience.
Yeah. So what's new in this album? Is there any new musical exploration in this album?
Yeah, I mean, I think my bandmates always bring, their
Mm,
own perspective and different kinds of sounds. And I've got two new bandmates on this album, so
mm,
the drums and the synths are, coming from a different from different people, and so they have
mm,
different kinds of sounds that they're playing with, but with respect to like the style of the band, and they've maintained, the vibe of Frankie Cosmos, and it still feels like a
mm.
Frankie Cosmos record, but there's these different people's, uh, in intuition and stuff coming into it. And then yeah, there's a lot of guitars and synth flares and stuff. I mean, it's
Mm,
something we've played with on the last few records. But I think more than ever, because of the amount of time we had in the studio, we were like able to build a lot more layers, and it's felt more like it's felt more than ever like we have to figure out how to
mm,
play it live as a four piece, because there's so many um you know little
mm.
details of a guitar here and a guitar there and several synths. Our keyboard player has like three keyboards and a guitar, and she's like trying to play them all at once. So it's definitely, I think it's probably got more layers.
So what was the easiest and the hardest song to make on this album?
The easiest was probably, let me look at the track list. I feel like the
Mm,
hardest one for me
mm,
was Margareta, which
mm.
is uh,
Why?
it just, I was really struggling to play the guitar part. For some reason, in it as an overdub, it wasn't working, and I
Mhm,
really wanted to be like in the room with the drums while tracking the live guitar. So we had to sort of start it over, And I don't know, I think the way that it felt rhythmically, like my brain just like couldn't comprehend that the way that it felt, not how it sounded. And it took me a minute I just like needed to step away from it. I had a little bit of just a hard time like wrapping my head around it. And so we restarted it at least once. And honestly, a lot of the songs were hard, actually. I think I remember tracking like the vocals on a lot of them was difficult. I was realizing that I had written melodies that were sort of jumping around more than previous records, and some of them were too low for me to sing them well to recording. And I realized it, while I was doing the vocals. So there was definitely a lot of times that I was frustrated while recording. But then it's also just really fun. I think recording is really fun in general. So I'm trying to think what's like the easiest one. They're all kind of, what, I don't know. I mean, I guess Pressed Flower might have been the easiest one, the first one, the very first track, because it was like, we just did it. I don't know. We just didn't have an expectation. It was the first one we recorded, and we but yeah, it's all such a days long process, and there's parts that are easy and parts that are hard,
So you featured Tracy Ullman in the Pressed Flower video. How did that happen?
She's a friend, and she's just really funny, and we love her. And Alex, my bandmate, was, had this idea. He was like, what if we just let Tracy do whatever she wants? And she's just so brilliant. So, so we kind of just built the concept around that.
So Greta, what made you become a musician?
I mean, I was always a musician, just as something that it's just something that I do. But in terms of like doing it at the level that I'm doing it and having it be my life, I think it was something that I didn't feel like I necessarily chose. It just kind of happened. Like when I was a teenager, I was in some bands, and I joined my then boyfriend's band, who he was taking it more seriously and trying to tour and stuff. And so I got all this experience of touring at a really young age, and I just liked it, and I realized that that's something I wanted to do, and I wanted to try it with my own music, and so making albums and touring was definitely something that I learned from being in his band, and then I figured out how to do it with my own.
Yeah. Who are the musicians who have influenced you the most?
I feel like the most influential musicians to me, it's not necessarily like people that I sound like them, but it's people who are doing something that's really unique to them. Like Daniel Johnston comes to mind, and Joanna Newsom, Michael Hurley, Velvet Underground, bands and artists that are just making something very true to themselves.
Yeah. What is your biggest dream in music, Greta?
My biggest dream? I try not to dream too big, because because I just appreciate, getting to make music. I think that's enough for me, and I want to just this is my dream. Getting to be a musician is completely a dream come true. But if I had to dream big, I would say getting to play a lot of different places all over the world and have people come to the show, and getting to be able to, I don't know, beginning to be able to record more albums in interesting places, maybe somewhere new, and that's it.
Are there any musician you like to collaborate with?
Oh man, not really. No, I don't know, not really. I mean, I feel like I love to collaborate with my band. I love my bandmates. I think I've had some cool opportunities to write for other people and sing on other people's work, and it's always easy enough and fun, but it's not really the same for me. Like my writing process is so just solitary. It's just me, and I think I do better when I'm writing by myself. So I'm not particularly wanting to collaborate with anyone, although, like, if there was a show and a band that I love is playing a song that needs a vocalist, I would, I love to sing and I love to play with other people. Like so I think there's definitely artists like that I would love to do that with, but not necessarily, collaborate on the writing side of things.
What does fans mean to you, Greta?
Fans?
Yeah, friends. Your friends.
Oh, my friends. What do they mean to me? I guess community and having people to be comfortable around, and not overthinking what I say, and just being sort of known by people that are dear to me means a lot to me. And it's hard. I think it's really hard for musicians that travel a lot to maintain relationships. And I think I have gotten really lucky that I have friends that understand that sometimes I leave town for months at a time or am slow to respond. But yeah, for me, it means a lot to me to have people that I don't worry so much about them not understanding things that I think or say.
Okay, Greta, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Good luck with your new album.
Thank you.